What's up guys, welcome back to another awesome episode of the database management video series. Today we have question number 25 of the database management video series. So let's go check it out. So here we have question number 25. So if you have been in touch with us, you know that question number 25 is actually part number 9 of main question number 16. So this is question number 16. So I have included a separate video for this question. So if you haven't watched that, you can go ahead and check that out. So I have included the video link in the description below. So today we are going to discuss question number 25. So as usual, question number 25 is an SQL query question. So if you are going to tackle this question, we'll need a software which executes SQL queries. So I have a SQL software for that. So I'll be using this software for executing the queries. So let's move on to the question and tackle the questions one by one. So I'll just use a pen to mark the question. So the first question is asking us to find the average obtained in the first term for the mathematics subject. So I am supposed to find all the marks obtained from all the students for the first term for the subject of mathematics. Then I am supposed to find the average mark. Okay, I am going to tackle this question using the method of subqueries. So I'll just break this whole question since it's kind of a big question. I'll just break this down onto three or four points because it's easy for us to do the question there. Okay, so the first point is I'm going to get all the marks, select all columns from. So when you are taking data from a data table, you must include the database. So I am going to extract data from the student underscore exam underscore marks underscore record table. So once I execute the query, now I have all the details of the marks. So you have the student index number and you don't have the student name. You don't have the subject name, you only have the subject ID. You don't have details about the exam term, you have only the exam term ID. So these are all foreign keys, but mark column is a separate column where you only have the marks. So I'm just going to extract the data like this. So I'm going to give a condition where so we are going to extract data where the term ID should be the ID of the first term. So let's write an SQL write a subquery for that. So the column name is exam underscore term underscore ID. So for that, I'm going to write this subquery here. Select term underscore ID, select the term ID from exam underscore marks underscore DB, and I am using the exam term table. I am extracting the term ID from the exam term table, where now here we must include that the term name is equal to first term because we need only the marks for the first term. So once I run this query, now I have all the details of all the subjects. We don't only have mathematics, but we have details of all the subjects. So and now I am going to extract the details of mathematics. So now I have to include the subject underscore ID should be equal to, so you can use the equal mark or ID here, it doesn't matter in this case because there's only one ID for the subject of mathematics, you don't have two. But in case if in subqueries you may have instances where you are extracting more than one data from the subquery, so in such cases you can use in, but you can also use in replacement of the equal mark. So I am used to the in term instead of the equal mark. So now we have to mention the subquery select the subject underscore ID from exam underscore marks underscore db dot. So we are taking data from the subject table where the subject name is equal to mathematics. Okay, let's run this one. So now we have all the details of the, now the term ID for the first term is 1. So the subject ID for mathematics is 1. So we have all the details for the first term mathematics marks. But in this case we don't need all these details, we only need the average. So I just take the marks. So now we have only the marks. Then I am going to take the average. So if you are going to take the average, you have a specific function in SQL. You call it the average function. So I must include the name of the column which I am going to find the average inside this average function. So this average function comes with AVG and they have a pair of brackets. So inside the brackets you must include the name of the column which you are going to find the average. So in this case it's the mark. I am going to find the average of the mark. So I must include the name of the mark as the parameter that I am going to find the average. So once I run this query, I have average 71.845. Okay. Now, but in this case, the only thing that matters is the name of the column. So I am just going to rename it as the average mark for mathematics for the first term. To be too specific, this is the name of the column. We have average mark for mathematics for the first term. Okay. So this is the answer for the first SQL query question. So I'm just going to put a tick here. Okay. Now first question is done. We have 3 more. So the second question is find the average obtained in the second term for the singular subject. Okay. Now the same thing we have to do for the second term and for the singular subject. So I'm just going to repeat the whole thing. So I'm just going to cancel it off. So I am selecting data from exam underscore marks underscore db dot the marks table. So now I have all the details. So as earlier I am going to include the subject underscore ID as the ID which represents the subject name as mathematics. So I am supposed to find the subject underscore ID from the exam underscore marks underscore db dot the subject table. So this should be there. Subject name is equal to, in this case it's science. It's science, right? Oh, sorry, it's singular. Okay. So I'm just going to go for the subject table. So I'm just going to copy this and replace it here. Okay. Now once I run the query, I have all the details of the for both and first and second term, and I have all the marks, but only for the subject of singular and literature. So now I need all the details for the singular subject, but only for the second term. So the value which comes for the exam term underscore ID should be. So as I am going to write an subquery, I must include the keyword in. So select term underscore ID from exam underscore marks underscore DB exam term table where the term name is equal to second term. So let's run this query. Okay. Now we have all the details for the single and integer subject, and also they are specified up to the second term only. So we have marks for the for single subject for the second term. So, but I don't need all these details. I only need the marks. So now I have all the marks. So then I am going to find the average. So as in the previous question, I must include the marks table inside this average function. So I will get only the average of these marks. Okay, now I have the average. So as in the previous question, I am just going to rename the column just to complete our question as I'll just rename it as average mark for singular for the second term. Okay. Let's run this. Okay, now we have this average mark for singular for the second term is 87.8875. Okay. So that's the end of the second question. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, second question is done. We have two more. Find the average marks obtained by Sachitra Vikramasinghe. Now this is the name of the student. That means this is the first name and this is the last name according to our data. Student in all subjects in the examination pending 2027-10. So they are not specifying us the term name. They are just giving us the exam date. This is only the exam date. So we must find out which term this is, and we must find all the marks of the student which this student got for this exam, and we must find his average. Okay. So it's very simple. We just have to go it step by step. So I'll just delete all this and start from the beginning. Okay. So first I'll find all the marks of all the students. Select all from exam underscore marks underscore db dot the mark table. So I'll just run this query. So as you have watched in previous videos, in all the videos, I just started the SQL query by using this SQL query. The reason is all the SQL queries which were given to us were based upon the marks. So the marks is the central table. So I just have to modify the marks table to obtain the details what I want. So this is the first table that I must include in the query. So I just run this one right here, and now I have to filter out only the details where the exam date is the given date. So I just have to write exam underscore term underscore ID. This is the exam term column. So I have to include details. Now I'm going to extract data from the exam term table. I have to include select term ID from exam underscore marks underscore db dot the exam term table where the term name is equal to the exam date. We are not given the term name, so we must include the exam date. So exam date should be equal to 2020 according to the question. It's 2027 10. 2027 and 10. Okay, let's run this. So now we have all the details of the exam held on 2027-10, which is mostly the second term, because the ID is 2. ID is 2 for the second term and 1 for the first term. Now we have to print out all the marks. So now we must include the details of the student. Now we have only one detail. The first name is Sachitra and the second name is Vikramasinghe. Okay. Now I just include this, and now we have all the details in the student table, but we have linked this using a foreign key, that is the student underscore index underscore number, and that index number should be the index number of that student. So I'm just going to include in, because we are going to write a subquery. So select index number from exam underscore marks underscore db dot the student table, where the first name is equal to, let's check the student table, it's Sachitra, and the last name should be Vikramasinghe. Okay, let's print out. Okay, now we have all the details for the second term for all subjects. Now we have written all three subjects for the second term, that's mathematics, science and Sinhala. So we have got these marks for those subjects. Now I have to find his average. So I just have to include the average function. So inside I have to put the mark. So now I have the average mark of this student for the second term. So I'll just rename the column to make it more perfect. Average mark scored by Sachitra for the second term. And just rename it like this. Okay. Now I'll run it. Okay. Now we have average marks scored by Sachitra for the second term is this 63.09. Okay. That's the end of the third question. Let's move on to the last question. So the last question is asking, arrange the marks obtained by all students of class A in the first term in ascending order. Now we have three tasks. One is filtering data of class A. Then we have to filter out only the details of the first term. Then we have to arrange them in ascending order. Okay. So this question can be broken down into 8 points. So this question can be broken down into 8 points. So let's see how we are going to break this down. Okay. Now I have the Average SQL software right here. I'm just going to delete the previous query. Then I'm going to delete this one as well. So in this question, first of all, what you have to do, now in this question they are asking the marks, so obviously we must start from this SQL query, exam underscore marks underscore db dot the exam term table, the marks table. Now when I run the query, I get all the marks. Okay. Next thing what I am going to do is I am going to use the concept of inner join. So I am going to inner join the student table to this one. So when I am specifying a table, I must include the database. So I am just going to include the student table. Now I have to give the condition which they are going to join. So the condition what I am going to give is the student underscore marks underscore db dot the student underscore index number column should be equal to the index number of the student table. So I'll just run this query. So now I have the marks table and the student table joined to each other using this condition. Okay. Step 3. Now I am going to inner join the class table to this as well. Inner join so when we are specifying a table, I must include the database dot the class table. I have to give the condition on the class ID, the class underscore ID of the student table should be equal to the class ID of the class table. Okay. Now I'll run this query. Okay. Now we have all the details of all the students and all his or her marks along with the class name of the specific student. Now we have the classes as well because we connected the class table also. Next step is we must include the exam term table to this as well because they are asking us to get only the details of the first term. So I am going to inner join exam underscore marks underscore db dot the exam term table, and I am going to give the condition the exam underscore term underscore ID of the marks table should be equal to the term ID of the exam table. Okay, that's the condition that I am going to give. So let's run this one. Okay, now we have also the exam term table connected to this as well, along with the term ID. Now the term ID matches to the exam underscore term underscore ID of the marks table. Okay. Next step, that was the fourth step. Fifth step is, since we don't have to give any specifications about the subjects, so we have to find the average of all the subjects. So according to the question, they haven't given us any details about the subject. They haven't specified us about the subject. So we just have to find all the subject or average of all the subjects. Next we have to do, as the fifth step is giving the conditions. Okay. Now my first condition is giving the specifying the exam term. So there the term name should be first term, should be a capital T. Okay. Now I'll run this one. Now we have all the details of the first term only. As you can see in this column as well, the term ID is only 1. If we can see this one as well, the term name is only first term. We don't have the second term details. Okay. And next, as the sixth step, we must specify the class name. They are asking only the details of class A. There are two classes, 11A and 11B. So they are specifying us only to find the details of 11A. So I have to give the class name. It should be an underscore. Class name should be 11A. Okay. Now I'll run this one. Okay. Now we have all the details of only class 11A. As you can see, class name is only 11A. Next, as the seventh step, we must order these data. We must order these data by, let's order these data by the mark. Order by AC. AC means ascending. So, okay. Oh, there's no by here. Okay. Now I'll run this one. Now we have all the details of all the students. That means we have the student details. We have his or her class details. We have the exam term details, and also the and we don't have the subject details. But all these details are arranged in the ascending order of the students' marks. Okay. Next, as the last step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to specify only the details that I want. I don't need all these details because well, I just want the first name of the student, and I'll need the last name of the student. Then I'm going to need the gender of the student. I'm going to need the gender of the student, and I'll need the contact number. And I'll need the contact number. I'll need the contact number column. Then I'll need the class name. The class name, with the class name. Then I'll need the mark of the student. Then I'll be needing the exam term. Name, and finally I'll be needing the exam date. Okay, so that's all I need. Then I'll just include the subject name as well, because I think it's important that we include that as well. Okay, since we haven't connected the subject table, I think this is enough. So now we have all the details, but we don't have the subject details, so I think it's better if we connect that as well. So I'll just connect it right here. Yeah, just connect it right here. Join exam underscore marks underscore db dot the subject table from the condition the student underscore marks underscore db subject id column should be equal to the subject id of the subject column. Okay. Next, I can filter out the details of the subject name. I'll just include it right here, adjacent to the marks. So since I have included the subject table as well, I get the details of the subjects as well. Now here you have it, all the details of all the students for the first term of class A, arranged in ascending order of their mark. Okay. So that's the end of the fourth question, and that's also the end of question number 25 of the database management video series. So I hope you guys have to see you in the next video, that is question number 26 of the database management video series. So I'll see you guys then. Bye guys.